No, your eyes are not deceiving you. That is the Mighty Dish. The Mighty Dash is much more adorable younger sister. And we are over the Inland Empire, right about over San Bernardino, making our way in to Burbank, California. And this is Orbx's new Southern California terrain region that we happen to be bouncing over at the moment. It is quite something so far. It looks like it's got much more accurate land class data and vector data, and it certainly is drawing a lot more stuff down there, as you can see. And I'm sure we'll see it even better as we get lower. We're, I'd say about 7 or 8 minutes from top of descent. No, 5 minutes from top of descent. And we're going down to initially 7,000 feet. I think what we'll do is we will make our approach into Burbank, and then we will fly a low approach, and then we'll just take off and pop back up and take a look at the entire area. We're coming right over Ontario, right there. There's the airport in Ontario. And wow, there is no shortage of stuff in the way of neighborhoods there and industrial areas, and it almost looks like the real thing. This is the same way we'd fly if we were flying the River 2 arrival into LAX, only we would be flying off more or less in this direction here. But instead we are going to come over the mountains and into the San Fernando Valley, and wow, that kind of looks like Southern California, doesn't it? That really does. That is not bad at all. The airports, of course, down there are stock, but stuff around them really looks good. So we'll see what this, where this goes. This is the, I think this is the Angeles National Forest here, but I'm not sure. And there's no shortage of airports all up along the way. On the way in, on the, this is where the 10 and the 15 meet, if I'm not mistaken. The freeways. Anyway, we're just sort of fat and happy. We're getting ready to hit our TOD. Not a bad flying day. Let's see what our weather looks like. It is altimeter 3009. Just set that now. And I'm kind of going to brief our approach, but not really, because we're not really going to be landing. I just want a sort of little guided tour of the area. I'm just going to pop up our frames here, see what kind of frames we're getting. Okay, we're getting anywhere between 30 something and 59, and that is with cloud shadows off and reflections off, but everything else cranked up pretty high. And we're running again on a 5820 CPU clocked up to about 4.4, 4.5, and a 980 Ti single card. So pop us into VNAV here. Bet you will offer us to arm the approach too. Yep. We'll arm that approach. And we'll be doing this entirely on pink needles here. So far so good. I tried installing Prepared 3.1 and I liked it a lot, but none of the accessories fully worked with it. Active Sky Next was dead. EasyDock was semi-dead, and certain object flow modules from Orbx were also crippled, so Now that is the right mix there of residential neighborhoods and warehouses and things that you find along the way here. So that's well done. And it's also well done the way the neighborhoods nestle themselves into the mountains and don't cut off sharply. They have jagged edges to them. What I still wonder though for the life of me is why in P3D and FSX the roads sort of appear to be like sort of dry riverbeds instead of roads. They better represent pavement in X-Plane, but they're all pretty jaggy and weird in P3D and FSX. I'm not sure why. So this is the approach we're going to be taking. We'll be flying out to the west of the airfield, making a nice long looping base leg and turn to final, turning northeast to land. But again, we're really not going to be landing. We'll just get low enough to see the terrain, to stop and smell the roses, and then I think we'll fly along down the Pacific coast and see what it looks like. This is pretty cool, I will say that. We'll just roll off our power here because we're getting pretty sporty. Keep that barber pole from giving us a close shave, as it were. Retrim quite a bit on the rudder. Because the yaw damper on a dash is just about as useful as a bicycle is to a fish. Good looking mountain terrain here. Yeah, just more or less looks like Southern California as you're coming into LAX. Again, we're staying somewhat to the east of that path into LAX, which is more or less this way, and then that way, because we're coming into the valley. That's the LA River right there, if I'm not mistaken. I do believe it is. Showing far more water than it normally does. It should be called the LA Drainage Ditch, but they're trying to fix that. They're trying to deconcretize it a little bit and turn it into what looks more like a river, put bike paths along it. A whole bit. Kind of cool. I put in a sort of rudimentary flight plan here. I'm not entirely sure it is legal or kosher or even remotely usable, but okay, we're going to hit Umber, trying to hit that at 7,000. We can come down 6,000 and we're just above 13, so that'll do it. Actually, the restriction is above 7,000, not 7,000 exactly. And then the RNAV runway 8. And we won't fly the published missed approach, but we will do a missed approach at some point. Check my frames real quick. Oh, they're very good. They're in the 50s and 40s. The Mighty Dash, as you know, is remarkably easy on frames compared to just about any other complicated airliner. You know, the newer PMDG stuff is really pretty good too. The 777 gets very good frame rates considering all that it's modeling. So if I'm not mistaken, we'll be sort of flying over to this ridge here and popping over into the valley. This out in this direction, as we go further out this way, is the high desert all the way around here, and Palmdale and Edwards Air Force Base and Victorville and that sort of thing. But for the moment, we're just seeing what it looks like here. And I think what we'll do is we'll do a quick jaunt down, I'd say over Palos Verdes, and drop in maybe to KSNA, Santa Ana, Orange County, John Wayne, and see how the Orbx Southern California scenery meshes up, so to speak, forgive the pun, with Latin VFR's KSNA scenery. See how it blends. Alright, 10,000 feet, flip on our lights, do the hokey pokey. Still got a little bit of ice. And bring off our speed a bit. There's an artifact of some sort. Let's see what that is. Well, don't know. Not sure whether that's Big Bear or Lake Arrowhead, but that's a piece of something. Just grab a screenshot of that for the Orbx folks. As we struggle to reacquire our VNAV path here. Should probably just manually intervene at this point. Yeah. And down we come. Like some clouds and fog in the valley, and as we get closer, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty natural. Gonna slow down a bit so we linger over this scenery here. Of course, since no CPU is the perfect CPU yet for running these sorts of programs, you'll still see textures loading and snapping into focus here as we get closer to them. But all things considered, there's a shopping center. Look at that. Wow. That's not bad. Look at that. There's some little tiling issues here, but it's not bad. And we continue on our VNAV path on down. I think we'll do a touch and go at Burbank, scare the natives a little bit. We'll turn on our pumps, spin down our altitude. Let's see, field elevation is 778. Set that to 1200. Turn on the pimps, bring our bleeds to min, pretend we're cleared for landing. As we make our turn, roll off some power here, and bring our props up. Bring our levers up, actually. The props are going to stay low.
2,500.
As we swoop down into the valley. I believe that's our field right there. And right back here, somewhere nestled in here, is Whiteman Airport. I think it's right there. Anyway. Doing a little too much sightseeing here. Drop some flaps, drop some gear. That kind of looks like the valley. And that's Burbank right down there. That's, yeah, that's Whiteman Field right there, I think. Looking good. Very nice. I mean, that actually does look like the valley. But our frames are going down. See our stutters there? I think that's because the clouds and the haze. We're going anywhere from 50 to 17. Alright, well, we'll work on that. See that? See the stutters as we pan? Slow us down a bit more. We're actually overspeeding our flaps 15 right there. Alright, well that sorted itself out actually. Oh no, that's Van Nuys right there. Okay. Now I'm oriented. Yeah, because we're coming along the 134. The 101, then the 134. Cool. Look at that. They really fake it pretty well. That looks like the valley. You know, that's obviously photo scenery right there. It's kind of flat. But they sprinkle in just enough autogen to make it really plausible. But it's time to talk to Mr. SLI for an extra video card. That's what we're going to have to ask Santa for. And there's the runway. And that's Van Nuys we're going right over. And they got the freeway underpass, right? Tell you, all the surrounding buildings and things really do now look plausible instead of looking like little matchbox houses popped up. And our approach is armed. I'm mainly flying this autopilot and hands off so I can sightsee a little bit. Let's get ourselves nice and stable. See what our frames are like now. We're in the 30s and 40s. It's the variability that seems to make for stutters. Not bad. Don't want to let our speed creep up too much here. Matter of fact, I'm going to drop us right down to final approach speed. And we'll just go flying ourselves. Let's see if we can shoot this approach nicely. Hey, there are palm trees down there. Cool. Wow. Looks good.
500.
Looks good. Just walking our trim around a little bit here.
Plus 100. Minimums. Minimums.
It's landing.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
And gear up. And flaps up. Let's fly over downtown LA. So we will fly over Burbank here. We'll hook a right around the around the 5. That's Forest Lawn Cemetery right there. Here, let's go over the Hollywood sign. Bring our props back, power down a little bit. There's a hazy LA day. Say hello to Laurel and Hardy and Milton Berle and everybody else who is spending eternity down there. Just pop over the backside of the Hollywood sign right here. Coming over the reservoir.
Caution. Terrain. Caution. Terrain.
Caution, very expensive terrain. Hey, look at that. They modeled the parking lot down there. Look at that. There's cars and everything.
Pull up.
Oh, don't be a killjoy.
1,000.
Come over the canyons here. Buzz Frank Zappa's old home. A little bit lumpy on the frames. I think it's because the weather is hazy. And also because I've got cranes and other things enabled. So I'll bet you when we fly over Long Beach, we'll fly over Long Beach, we will see some stutters. Okay, come over the west side of LA. Maybe we'll buzz KSMO, see if the golf course is there. There's KSMO right there ahead of us. That's Santa Monica. That's where Harrison Ford did a very fine bit of airmanship to keep himself alive when his old Ryan trainer died on him. The accident report on that just came out. It turns out that as we load some scenery here, it turns out that it was some sort of oiling problem. Had nothing to do with his airmanship, which was very good. And so this is Century City we're over right now. Doesn't look bad. Bit of a slideshow though. Look at this.
Caution. Terrain.
24 frames.
Terrain.
Alright, we'll do a low pass over Santa Monica. And then ride up the coast. Yeah,
Caution.
a little bit of
Terrain.
blurries. It's a
Caution.
lot of stuff to
Terrain.
draw. See how I'm getting blurries down there? There, now it's
Caution.
snapping into
Terrain.
focus.
Caution. Terrain.
I like the palm trees. Just give them a little what for here.
Pull up. Pull up. Pull up.
In a minute.
Pull up. Too low. Terrain.
Oh, be
Too
quiet.
low. Terrain.
Kind of has
Too
the
low.
feel of Southern
Terrain.
California. There's the golf course.
Too low. Terrain.
Let's see the beach.
Too low. Gear.
Hush.
Too low. Gear. Too low. Gear. Too low. Gear.
All right, heading out over Venice. And coming up on LAX in a second. There are the Venice canals and Marina del Rey.
1,000.
There is Bayona Creek, which is not really a creek, it's more like an open sewer. And here's LAX, and LAX of course is the stock airport, but they got the roadways behind it and leading up to the beach just about right. Yep. And there's the refinery. It's a big refinery. Wow, they got that right. And there's Raytheon and the other defense contractors lined up near the airfield. And that's Hawthorne Airport right there in the distance. Wow, they got that smokestack right too. Look at that. Not bad. Alright, so we're going to cruise right over Torrance in a minute. If not mistaken, this is like Redondo Beach around there. And we will buzz Zamperini Airfield, which is nestled right before we get to RPV, as it's called locally, which is Rancho Palos Verdes. Hey, it looks pretty good. Alright, so there's Torrance right there, so let's go scare them too. I don't know why, but my throttle on my number one engine decided it
Caution. Terrain.
wanted to burp.
Terrain.
Just going to say goodbye to Mr. Terrain Boy. And pay a courtesy call on the Zamparinis. I wonder who Zamperini was. Somebody enlighten me in the comments if you know.
Too low. Terrain.
No, I'm just
Too
low enough.
Terrain. Too
Look
low.
at that.
Terrain. Too low. Terrain.
Red over white. It's
Too low.
like power
Terrain.
lines there. Yep. No, parking
Too
lot
low.
lights.
Terrain.
loading scenery, though. That's no good.
Too low. Terrain.
And there's the Torrance
Too
marking
low.
on the runway.
Terrain.
And there are the hangars.
Too low. Terrain.
And we'll come up.
Too low.
You see those
terrain.
cranes right there? That's the Port of Los Angeles. And
Too
I
low.
will bet
terrain.
you that that's what's causing our frame rate issues.
Too low. Terrain.
I will bet you that drawing all those cranes
low.
is doing
terrain.
that. That's why they offered to let you disable
low.
them, but
terrain.
it's quite a complex.
Too low. Terrain.
There's the Sunoco refinery.
Too low. Terrain. Too low. Terrain.
Let's see if we can go under the bridge.
Too low. Terrain. Pull up.
Get a close look at these cranes.
Pull up.
They're nicely modeled, that's for sure.
Too low. Terrain. Too low. Terrain. Too low. Terrain.
Alright, we could be flirting with this cargo ship right here.
Too low. Terrain.
This is not going to end well. Oh, the mighty dish strikes again. We'll turn around this pylon right there. We'll pretend it's a pylon. Keep ourselves level, see? Now I'm using a little bit of top rudder instead of my yoke to keep the nose pointed where I want it. And look at that. Look at all those Toyotas there parked. Right down there, and all those containers. Busiest port in the country, I do believe. And we'll bop on into Long Beach now. Nice. Okay, so we'll come up on the Queen Elizabeth. And there she is. Thread our way down again.
Terrain. Terrain.
Come off the power a bit.
Terrain. Terrain. Pull up. Terrain. Terrain.
Look at those container ships looking good.
Pull up. Too low. Terrain. Too low. Terrain.
Nicely done. Nicely
Too low.
modeled.
Terrain.
And
Too
that's
low.
downtown
Terrain.
Long Beach right there. Not bad either.
Too low. Terrain.
Not sure what the radio
Too low.
tower is doing
Terrain.
there. I don't think that belongs there, but
Too low.
if
Terrain.
that's the worst of it. So we're heading into Orange County here
Too
now.
low. Terrain. Too low. Terrain.
And this is Long Beach Airport we're flying over at the moment. The old Daughtry Field, also the old Douglas, and then
1,000.
Boeing plant. And it was built back in the day when you had to have a dozen airports all a dozen runways all crisscrossing each other to call yourself an airport. Alright, so let's go see what John Wayne looks like. If we can find it in this haze. Make our way back towards the ocean. Is that it? No. Alright, so should be at our 2 o'clock. And if it's not now, it will be soon. confess I'm at a loss for what airport this is. Is it Fullerton? I don't know. But I do know that if we keep following the 405 over here, we will get to our airport. A lot of scenery loading though. Wow. A lot of pauses for that. A lot of airports in the area. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll pop ourselves into a proper landing mode. And keep our eyes peeled for the airport. This is the 405, I do believe. Come down to pattern altitude. About like so. And look at that. That really looks pretty damn good. Thank you, OneDrive, for reminding me. That is Irvine out ahead. So I'm expecting to see an airport right about there. Yeah, about 8 miles away. Drop in a little flap. There's the airfield. It's a little bit of a cheat because what you're really seeing is P3D load the airport, but you know, we'll set ourselves up on a okay, there's the military airfield behind it. We'll set ourselves up on a right base. And let's see if I remember right, it's runway 20 right. Drop the gear. There's the field. Drop some more flap. And again, we're doing this to see how the scenery looks. The Latin VFR scenery and how it meshes with boy, it'd be nice if our flaps came down. There we go. That's one. That's one more. We're a little bit hot, a little bit heavy. And we are going to blow our turn to final here. Okay.
$500.
Yes, we're going to blow through it. No, we won't. Awkward, but adequate. And there's the airport. It looks pretty good.
Plus 100.
Blending in pretty nicely, actually.
Minimums. Minimums. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
And here we are. We'll pull up to a hangar here because we don't want to hog up a gate. Don't want to hog the runway either. Just see how bad that landing looked. I don't generally do this, kind of self-indulgent, but look at our turn to final and see how we did here. Oh, the airport doesn't show on replay. That's too bad. And the frame rate is all over the place. There we go. It's doing that moving control tower thing. See, it still thinks it's at another airport. It'll switch over in a second. There we go. We're not doing too badly. Reasonably stable. I'm paying attention to the nose where it's pointed. Just making sure it's not bobbing all over the place. Probably a little too much flare. No, not bad. A little firm. Not too bad. And the scenery looks pretty good. And job well done. There is the mighty dish, and there is KSNA, and Orbx's new SoCal, and got a few performance things to work out, but considering this is 4K, and most of the settings cranked up pretty high, that's not too bad, so I'll take it. Anyway, with that, hope to see you again soon. You know, do the whole like, don't like, comment thing. And subscribe if you want to see more. See you again soon.